Yo, what's good? Welcome back to another episode. Happy Sunday if you're watching this on Sunday. Obviously today's a sit down episode. You don't know, got my Jamaican accent in it. But today the topic is happiness. I feel like if especially if you're watching this in the States in America, like we are in this endless pursuit of wanting happiness, and we truly believe that we can achieve a certain level of happiness, whether that's by getting the job that we want, the degree that we want, the amount of money that we want in our bank. But can I tell you the truth? That doesn't exist. And I know you've seen it in a lot of people, those billionaires. They're like, "Oh, money is not everything. I was happy before the money." And then, Biggie Smalls, more money, more problem. And but yeah, I guess this is one of those other videos, but I don't have all the money and stuff or the cars, and I guess this is a different perspective because I truly believe that I am one of the happiest people here on this planet with my current circumstances. Um, yeah, I don't have millions or 100 millions or 100 thousands either in my bank account. I don't live in a huge house. I don't drive a fancy car. Um, I'm not rich or famous, but I'm the happiest person in the world. And that is because what we're going to talk about in this video. So if you want to be happy, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. But to summarize this whole video, and if you're one of those people who watch like the first half of the video and then you skipped a few, wait before you leave. All right. To summarize this whole video in one sentence is, if you can't be happy where you are now, there's nothing that you can add on in the future to make your future happy. Did y'all hear what I just said? If you can't find happiness in your current circumstance, situation, season, there is nothing you can add on to make you happier in the future. Did y'all hear what I just said? I hope y'all wrote that down because I kind of don't remember what I just said. But it's in the same context of, there's this whole hedonic treadmill talk. The little thing that the squirrel runs around and then it just spins in circles. I think that's what we're all doing. We live the if then kind of life. Like if or not even if, but once I, then I'll kind of life. Like once I get married, then I'll be happy. Once I get this job, then I'll be happy. Once I have $1 million in my bank, then I'll be happy. Once I have kids, then I'll be happy. Once I make this position in my current job, then once I start my own. So like the whole list can go on forever and ever. And I know you have one. I know whatever, wherever you're watching, you're like, man, look, me, my life sucks right now. You know what I'm saying? I can do a little better. You know what I mean? But hey, hold on. Once that fight, once I my money comes through from that fight, the gambling stuff, then I'll be good. Or once I, you know what I'm saying, get my LLC, my truck driving certificate, then I'll be happy. Like. Or replace the word happy with then I'll make it. Like that's the whole hedonic treadmill. It's like once you get that thing, you'll be happy for a few minutes. Like this is scientifically proven. You can go ahead and Google it. How long will I be happy once I achieve a certain thing? Go ahead and Google it. It's going to take a few minutes. Like imagine for a lot of y'all, when you graduated college, which is a huge accomplishment. Don't get it twisted. But your freshman year, you're like, man, I can't wait until I walk in that stage. I'm going to be the happiest person forever and ever. And then like you walked and you were happy for like 3 minutes. And then you went to a buffet to eat with your family. And then you found an entry level job that didn't pay you anything, and then it took you like 6 or 5 years to get to a job that actually pays. You know what I mean? So that's the hedonic treadmill. You can never be fully satisfied with extrinsic satisfaction. Extrinsic means something that is outwardly. You can never be fully satisfied. You can never be fully happy with any amount of money, any amount of success, any amount of fame. I even know some Olympic gold medalers who don't even pay attention to their gold medals. Like they put it somewhere in a cabinet because like, yeah, it was dopamine when they hit the stage and they won first place and pictures were taken, but like that's not it. That didn't carry over through the rest. It's not like a happily ever happy story. So if you can't find true happiness within the like, I'm not telling you to be satisfied with where you are, but I am challenging you to find happiness within you. That's intrinsic. What in your life can you be happy for? Let's start here. Since we're in America, we have this tendency of being entitled. As in, like, when we don't get our way, we start getting mad. And we start getting mad and angry at God because he didn't answer a prayer. Sometimes we even pray for a really long time and we fast and we find out that God still hasn't answered a prayer. And we start looking at the Bible like, didn't the Bible say, knock, seek, and you shall find, ask, and whatever you ask shall be given it to, why are you giving it to me, blah, blah, blah. Because you're asking for something that is extrinsic. You're asking for something. Some of us, our prayers, the things that we ask for are the things that have the potential to drive us away from God. Did you hear what I just said? The things that we ask for in prayer have the potential to get or keep us away or drive us away from God. These are the materialistic things. We want God to give us a raise. We want God to give us a bigger house. We want God to give us all these extrinsic things, expecting intrinsic happiness, because happiness comes from within. Happiness, number one, is an emotion. An emotion is not something that lasts forever. An emotion is something that comes and goes. If you're sad, can you be happy while you're sad? No, you can only be one emotion at the same time, right? Or even multiple. Sometimes you can feel disgusted and angry. But I've never seen somebody who's happy and angry. Or maybe if it's holy anger, but you'll still be more angry than happy. So my kind of happy stems from the place of joy. It's inward joy. It's joy that says my life may have a lot of things going on right now, but excuse my entitlement. The fact that I can wake up, open my eyes, I can open my eyes, but I have no clue how I can see. And it comes from a form of gratitude. Like, oh my God, I just woke up from a bed. A lot of people don't have beds, and I have one. Like, that's insane. You know what I mean? Like, I have food in my fridge that I can go eat whenever I want to. Like, but we keep wanting more and more and more and more. Like the artist Picasso, when he was forming the statue of David, the first thing, it was a big block of rock, and it was huge. And then he had to chip away and chisel away until he got to the perfect defined definition of the statue of David. He didn't add anything. And that's I feel like that's the message. That is the message for today. And I feel like that's what our aim should be. Instead of trying to add money, trying to add possessions, trying to add wealth, trying to add all these things, we should chip away certain things so that we can be fully and truly dependent on our inward happiness, inward joy, rather than waiting for other things. Because some of us are like, man, I want my spouse, I want my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my friend, my mom and dad. You give people these expectations, and your happiness is dependent on people and things. So then when you don't get the people, you don't get the things, you then become unsatisfied. You then become disappointment. You then form this kind of resentment because your expectations haven't been met, because your happiness, your joy is dependent on the outward things. But if you release your happiness from other people, if you release your happiness from other things, if you find true happiness with where you are now, you can be poor, you can be middle class, you can be the richest person on earth, and anything and everything can be taken away from you, added onto you. But because you're not attached to these things, then your life will still have fruits. Your life will still be filled with happiness and joy, because that's when you realize the things that truly matter. The things that truly matter in this world are inwardly things. It's love, it's joy, it's peace, it's happiness, it's spending times with the ones you love, it's having quality times with the people you care about, it's having a big impact on this world. Like, we are all put on this earth to solve a problem. We're all put on this earth to fulfill a will that God has placed us here to do. We are all put on this earth to be creators, because in the beginning God created, and on the sixth day he formed man and said, this is man of my image. And if we're in his image, then that means we are also creators, and that means we were created to create as well. Like, we have been given the power, the dominion, the same power that raised Christ from the dead is within us. And if that power is within us, then that means we can't belittle ourselves. We can't stop. We need to stop depending on the world's view of what happiness and joy and full satisfaction means, and start putting our word or our hope back in the word of God. We need to turn around and look at God and say, what does God say about happiness? What does God say about joy? What does God say about peace? That's the definition that we need to know. Jesus had no house. Jesus had no bank account. I'm not telling y'all to be poor. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you not to seek your bag. I'm not telling you not to get that money. I'm not telling you not to get the fame or whatever you want. I'm just telling you, don't allow yourself to be attached to it. If you want to chase it, but don't be attached, because once you don't get it, once you get the disappointment, you now fall into a ditch of like, oh, I'm never enough. Oh, I'm not going to get it. Oh, this, and that, because you formed your identity in something that is extrinsic. You attach your identity with something that can come and go. Like, that's insane. And TV and the TikToks and the Instagrams and like, they all give us this feed of like, you need to acquire more so you can be happy. But look back in your life and see, like, what are some things that you were one day saying, oh, once I get this, then I'll feel like this. But then you no longer feel like that. But then at the same time, you're starting to chase something that you hope is going to give you that satisfaction and that feeling again. And you lose track of what truly makes you happy. Your family, your friends, your fulfillment, and your faith with God. Things that we are just guests here on this world. We need to relinquish our attachments to worldly things and start forming our attachment to the things that matter. The things that will last forever, the things that will go with us beyond when we die, because that's what truly matters. Yes, you can cry. You would rather cry in the Lamborghini than in the streets. But like, what? Why? Like, you can, let me not even get to that. But true happiness is from within. True happiness comes from relinquishing our attachments to everything on this earth, everything, including the very things that we even care about. We see Abraham. He was 75 years old when he left everything. He had all the money. Homeboy had a rich 401k. And he was like, you know what? I'm tired of golfing every day. I'm tired of eating lobster on my yacht every day, and I'm gonna go follow God's will, because there's something more than just satisfying our flesh and satisfying the things that we think will make us happy, because they're never enough. They will never fill that void that we have within us that only God can fill when we want to accomplish his will. So he said, I will let it go and I will follow God. And God promises Abraham, He promises him like descendants that will even be more than the dust, more than anyone can count. And it wasn't until he was 105 years old that he birthed Isaac. And even the very thing that Abraham was expecting for all these years and his wife, God asked him to put it on the altar for sacrifice. The very thing that he was waiting for all those years, a son, someone that can now carry on the promise of God. God tested his obedience, and he said, Abram, your happiness cannot be on your son. Your happiness cannot be on the promise that I just gave you right now. Your happiness needs to be dependent in me, in God, in Christ, in Jesus. And that is where you find true happiness. And Abram was willing to sacrifice the very thing that he was praying, fasting, and believing in God for. And when he put his son on that place of offering, he had the knife. That is how you know how obedient Abraham was. He had all the money in the world. Now he had a son, the very thing that he wanted more than money. And the fact that he was willing to give everything in ultimate surrender for God. That is when God came and gave him a replacement to sacrifice. And he said, Abraham fears God. And that's when his fulfillment and promises started happening. It is when we are able, it is when we are now wanting to take whatever, willing to take whatever that we hold true to on this earth, that we are so attached to, that we are able to put it on the altar and say, God, this thing makes me really happy, but it doesn't surpass your happiness, which is what I want. So what are you not willing to put on the altar? What in your life are you so attached to? What dream, what goal, what ambition, what desire are you so willing to fight, sacrifice, and do anything and everything for that is more extrinsic, that you're not willing to put down on the altar? That is the very thing that God is asking you to do. Because if you want ultimate satisfaction, if you want extraordinary, because God is the one who puts extra in the ordinary. So if you want extraordinary happiness, joy, fulfillment, promises that never run out, you can only find that in God. And if you want that, then you need to go to the altar and sacrifice the very thing that you think will give you that kind of satisfaction that is outside of God's will for your life. That's all, guys. And I'll see y'all next week. Peace.